What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Show, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network and on Peacock. And today we're talking the June 12th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. Now, we are 2 days late on this. I apologize, but I had a busy weekend, so better late than never. But it was a good show this week with Kevin Patrick filling in for Kayla Braxton, so it wasn't exactly the same dynamic as it normally is with Kayla and Paul, who are awesome. I like Kevin and R-Truth on Raw Talk. R-Truth can just be too goofy sometimes, but I think Kevin Patrick does a good job of holding down the fort. Now, the dynamic he has with Truth was very different than the dynamic that he had with Paul Heyman here on the show. Because Paul Heyman's a ball buster. It took Kayla seemingly a while to kind of get used to that and to kind of find what worked between the two of them. Kevin being completely new to Paul Heyman, he didn't exactly figure out how to go about addressing Paul Heyman, kind of working his way around the subtle jabs from Paul and stuff like that. So it was a bit awkward early on, but it turned out to be a good show. So they didn't say why Kayla was gone. Hopefully she is back soon. They did acknowledge her. So usually when someone fills in for someone else, then, if they don't mention the name, that probably means that they're done. Hopefully Kevin Patrick is not on Talking Smack permanently. I think he's great on Raw Talk. Kayla is awesome for Talking Smack. So hopefully it was a 1 week thing. They just didn't mention why she wasn't here. So Kevin Patrick, they get off to a pretty great start here with Kevin talking about how what we saw on SmackDown this week, specifically with Roman and Ray and really everything else on the show, was incredible. And Heyman points out how, and he has said this here on the show before and in other interviews and stuff like that, how when you use the word incredible, it's a lot like saying unbelievable. It means that it lacks credibility. If you want to call it a very credible SmackDown, that's one thing. I mean, obviously people call it incredible as in, oh, that's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Incredible for Paul means exactly what it's supposed to mean, apparently, and that it lacks credibility. He says that Raw Talk is incredible. Or Monday Night Raw itself is incredible. I don't think I've ever heard those words uttered about an episode of Monday Night Raw in a very long time, but Paul Heyman says it here. When he says it in the context that he's saying it in, it's quite fitting and it's great. And he enjoys taking shots at Raw, which I love. But anyway, they take turns recapping Cesaro's, Heyman and Kevin, that is. They take turns recapping Cesaro's return on SmackDown, attacking Seth Rollins on the Ding Dong Hello segment. They talk about Kevin Owens and Big E beating Apollo Crews and Sami Zayn in tag team action on the show on Friday. And in the middle of all this, Heyman claims to not understand a single word that Kevin is saying, because Kevin has that Irish accent. So Heyman pretends that he can't understand what he's saying. So he always looks over to the side throughout the episode. He's like, we need subtitles. I need a translator. I can't understand a single word this guy is saying, which is just amazing. We also find out that Heyman, which I did not know because I've really been off of social media for the last 2 or 3 days, that Heyman was going to give, or did give rather, an answer to Rey Mysterio's challenge on SmackDown for a match at Hell in the Cell. And he was going to give an answer to that challenge from Rey on behalf of Roman at the end of this show. He didn't give it here. Kevin pressed him for the answer to the challenge here, and Heyman said, I don't know how you do things on Raw, but over here on Talking Smack, we give the viewers a hook. We hook them and give the answer at the end of the show. The first people they have here on the show, and it looks like they're kind of limiting the number of guests they have here on the show now as opposed to 3 separate segments. It's 2. It's the same length of show, but they're giving the guests more time, and it really helps, specifically with SmackDown. They're doing it with Raw Talk too, which is good, but with Talking Smack, SmackDown literally has 20 people on its goddamn roster. You're going to be seeing the same people on the show every single week. Bianca, we've seen on the show a million times. So I'm glad they're kind of limiting down. They're kind of, having a limited number of people on the show each week now. So we're not seeing the same people each week or every other week or whatever. But we did have, before Bianca here on the show, we had the Alpha Academy, Chad Gable, and Otis. Otis, the new beardless look that he debuted on SmackDown, completely serious now, no accent. He's not speaking any funny way anymore. He's talking as he normally would, which I've never heard before, so it kind of took me by surprise here. Gable says that the Prophets mocked him, and they had to suffer the consequences as a result. And he is really he truly feels like he's unleashed the alpha inside of Otis. Otis begins speaking and addresses his attack on Montez Ford from earlier in the evening. We find out here from Kevin that Montez, in storyline, of course, has a partial rib fracture. And Otis says that Angelo Dawkins is next on his list. And Gable says that he's proud of Otis, this new Otis, and that he has never, although he is terrified looking at Otis and how destructive he's become, he has never felt safer. And Heyman says that he feels Otis is truly capable now. The guy's a former Mr. Money in the Bank, but only now apparently is he reaching his full potential. I like heel Otis. I don't really think there was anything wrong with babyface Otis, but after they kind of ruined him with the whole Money in the Bank thing, the Miz feud, and all the other dumb shit they've done with this guy over the last year. The Mandy Rose feud was great, not the feud, but like that whole storyline was great, and he got really over. But there hasn't been any fans. They haven't done jack shit with this guy lately, so turning him heel may not be the worst thing. He plays the role well. I'm interested to see where they'll go with the next, so I will say that much. Like I said, the next person they had here on the show was the SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, who talks about her, confrontation with Bayley on SmackDown. Well, it wasn't really much of a confrontation, more so her coming out, laughing at Bayley for what Bayley did to her the week before and laughing at Bianca. Bianca says that she turned the tables and had the last laugh, literally and figuratively, this time around. And, she says that she has a target on her back right now as the SmackDown Women's Champion, and no one's hitting it, she says. No one is hitting that current target on her back as the champion. Heyman kind of butts in and says that Bianca is indeed, as he has said many, many times before, she is the future of the women's division, not only on SmackDown, but in the entire WWE. And the entire roster is going to be against you because of what you have. And your challengers are going to be what defines you. Belair adds that Bayley's been trying to play mind games with her this entire time, and because she's already proven physically that she can beat Bayley, both at Backlash and on SmackDown previously. She's beaten her in obstacle courses before. Because Bayley can't beat her physically, she's trying to beat Bianca mentally. And Bianca is aware of that, and she realizes that she has to keep pushing through in order to beat Bayley come Hell in the Cell next weekend. Before Heyman kind of goes off on his little tangent, they hype up Nakamura and Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura versus King Corbin, in a Battle of the Crown match next week on SmackDown. Who gives a shit? As well as a tag team match pitting Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz for the first time in in-ring action on SmackDown against the duo of Big E and Big E and Kevin Owens for next week's SmackDown. So, the last couple of minutes are kind of just consist of Kevin Patrick pressing Paul Heyman for an answer to Rey Mysterio's challenge. He asks him like 3 times before Heyman finally responds and says, last week he warned Rey Mysterio. Rey didn't listen. Now he's going to get what he wants. Be careful what you wish for, because at Hell in the Cell this coming Sunday now, it's going to be Roman Reigns, and he's accepting the challenge on behalf of the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. It's going to be Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio for the Universal Championship inside Hell in a Cell. And Rey wants he wants revenge on Father's Day, and you couldn't write it any better if you tried. Even if it was on Raw, he said, which was hilarious when he said that. But he accepted the Hell in the Cell challenge on behalf of Roman. It will indeed be inside Hell in the Cell. I don't know why. The feud literally just started 2 weeks ago. This might be the quickest turnaround I have ever seen for a Hell in the Cell match in WWE history. People can complain about Lashley and Drew all they want. At least that makes sense to be inside the cell. I know what Roman has done to Rey recently, what he's done to Dominic recently. It may warrant for some people the stipulation, but it's way too fucking soon. They have yet to have a one-on-one match in WWE. I know it's the pay-per-view, but to immediately jump into a Hell in the Cell match, not even like a street fight, if anything, is just comical. It's comical, because they're trying to sell pay-per-views on a pay-per-view that should not even be happening at this point anymore. It's been a decade. The Hell in the Cell stuff is an annual tradition at the same time every single year. It's completely played out. But we're getting it here. Whatever. But I'm looking forward to the match. I think Roman and Rey should be a fun match. It's a fresh match. We have not seen Rey Mysterio in a world title picture, and probably since he came back to the company. And if you go back before that, probably not since like fucking 2011. A decade ago. This might be his first world championship opportunity in like 10 years, unless I'm missing something. I know he almost got a Universal Championship match on Raw a few years ago, but then he got like attacked or something by Brock, so it didn't happen. Oh no, I'm sorry. He faced Brock for the WWE Championship at Survivor Series that year, so this isn't his first world title match in 10 years, but he doesn't often get, world title main event opportunities, so I think that's cool. I'm looking forward to the match. I just think the stipulation is incredibly stupid. Despite the aggressive and intense personal nature of the feud, it's just way too soon for a stipulation like that. But overall, though, this was a good episode of Talking Smack. The new Otis is interesting. Gable's playing his role well. Bianca was great as always. Heyman and Kevin kind of took time to find that chemistry, to kind of find their footing here as a duo. I don't think Kevin will be here full time. I guess we'll see what happened to Kayla, and hopefully she's back soon. And hopefully it was a 1 week absence, because I think she and Heyman have just awesome chemistry together. They work really, really well together. So hopefully that is not the end of the Heyman and Braxton duo. But yeah, good stuff here for the June 12th, 2021 edition of Talking Smack. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Again, a day or two late. Usually I try to put this up on Saturday, if not on Sunday. I was just away this weekend, and I already recorded my Dark Side of the Ring review on Friday, so that's why that went up on Sunday this week, and this is going up on Monday. The Talking Smack review should be back up on Sunday next week, so keep an eye out for that. Speaking of which, you can check out more Talking Smack reviews on this very channel in the description box down below. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, including an interview with the new $1 million champion, L.A. Knight. Yeah! Tomorrow here on the channel, that's going to be going up. In addition to another interview on Thursday with a superstar yet to be named ahead of Hell in a Cell. That's a fucking tongue twister. Ahead of Hell in a Cell this coming Sunday. It's going up on Thursday here on the channel, I believe. We also have Q&A videos. We got plenty of other reviews, Raw Talk reviews. That's coming up tomorrow. Other interviews and stuff like that. So keep an eye out, guys. I appreciate your support. Have an awesome one. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.